I mean, I stopped praying for God to bless America like a really long time ago. Like it already crossed my red line a long time ago. But in one sense, the Bible tells us to pray for all men. So I mean, I'm praying for just people in general, just praying for people to be saved, praying for the work of Christ to go forward. I'm definitely praying for churches. I'm praying for God's people to be blessed. I don't specifically lift up America in prayer just because, I feel like, America has crossed some lines. And, I just decided a long time ago that when they crossed certain lines, I was done praying for the country as such. But I will say this, America is obviously still being greatly used by God as far as soul winning churches, missionaries. There's just a lot of great things going on. So I don't have a negative feeling about the way things are going. And at the end of the day, none of us really knows where life is going to take us or what the future holds. We can't predict things. Like none of us predicted the whole COVID thing. That was a weird thing that happened. And a lot of unprecedented things happened. So none of us really knows what's going to happen. And so at the end of the day, no matter what happens politically, no matter what happens with natural disasters or political things or wars or rumors of wars, we're going to continue serving God and we're going to move forward and we're going to push through. And so, at the end of the day, nothing's going to stop us from serving God. Like we're going to keep preaching the gospel. We're going to keep going soul winning no matter what. And, I remember reading this Sword of the Lord article like many years ago saying, oh man, if Hillary gets elected, I think this was like 2016. If Hillary gets elected, churches might have to go underground. And it's just like, dude, you guys are already underground, because I don't hear you guys preaching hard publicly about the things that need to be preached. And so you're already halfway underground too already. And so the way I look at it is, no matter what happens, the work of Christ is going to go forward, and even if it's just a Democrat president, Democrat Congress, Democrat Senate, and some radical left-wing agenda goes forward, I personally can't see us getting arrested for preaching the gospel or preaching the whole Bible or preaching hard on sin or preaching it's homos or anything. I can't see us getting arrested for that anytime in the next few decades. And so, I don't think
you're saying really reproaches me because when we were having to do hotel church at one point, we were so underground. We would email out our location just a few hours before church started on Sunday morning. I was just like, just start driving and then we'll tell you where to go.
Yeah, but you're still uploading it publicly to the internet.
I know. I'm just kind of joking, but I mean, I feel like I'm also hanging on by a thread because it's like if Rumble went down and X, like I have very few options as far as putting even information.
I mean, everybody knows GodResource.com is the best video streaming site on the planet. So who needs Rumble?
Email lists and GodResource.com. What else?
That's
do you
right.
need?
That's it.
Well, I haven't banned any uploader yet, so nor do I plan on ever doing that. But I want to give a quick update. I know some of our fans are interested in the election still, and so I have it pulled up on the AP.
What's Pennsylvania? What's going on there?
It's really close right now. It says
it's looking bad for Trump. 47%
have been counted. And it's 50% Trump, 49% Kamala. They're about 1.65 for Trump, 1.62 for Kamala. Now, if memory serves me correct, I mean, it was around 3 million for both last time. So I think it's probably pretty similar numbers as to last year as far as what percentage that they're anticipating, 3.2. So there's still a long way to go. Plus, unfortunately, I think that a lot of times the bigger counties that have the more Democrat cities are the ones that report late. So it could get even closer. I was looking at
Pennsylvania's the big enchilada.
Georgia's one that is kind of interesting in that case.
It's gone red, looks like.
Well, it is, but see, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's 81%, but if we click on it and we look at the actual state, and you look at a lot of these red zones, notice it'll say like 99% have already been counted in these red areas, whereas in these blue areas, it's like only 80%. And so that makes me feel
Is there no data on California yet?
Probably not. I don't think so. But it just means to me that the Georgia one's going to just tighten over time. It's around 220,000 votes ahead for Trump, and he has about 5% margin. But see, here's the thing: it's still pretty tight, pretty close. If I go to the 270 for the win, they don't really have any other data. They're not even really giving me any projections yet on this. So
0.3% voted for Stein. That's Jacob and Jared there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, back in 2020, it looks like Trump got a total of 232, and you need 270 to win. He got 232, and he's already got 198. So only 34 more, and he would beat 2020.
Is Oregon actually showing that?
Yeah, but you got to. I think last cycle, if I remember correctly, he was around 320 by 2 a.m, and then it all shifted to the 230. So, like, I think that he was literally winning almost every one of the swing states to like a 320 or a 300, and then overnight, just all these quote mail-in ballots came in. And
mass dumping of fake ballots happened.
All of these ballots came in, and then it changed in Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. I think like all of those like flipped overnight, and so it just like it really.
But had those actually been called though, or were they just leaning?
No, nothing had been called.
It was leaning.
No,
just right now, I'm saying 198 votes have already been called for Trump.
Yeah, but all of those were expected.
What are the swing states?
So again, the swing states
like Arizona. Was Arizona expected?
It's a swing state.
Arizona hasn't been called yet.
Yeah, so it's Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. And I think that this map on the 270, I'm going to go back to it. This kind of gives us an idea. So you look at Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, New Mexico, not New Mexico, Arizona, and Nevada. I think those are, quote, the swing states. And for the most part, Trump kind of has to have a Pennsylvania along with a couple others. He could, in theory, if he won like a Michigan or Wisconsin plus a lot of the others, could still potentially get over 270. But I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if we're even going to see a winner this evening. I don't know if they're just going to drag this thing out.
You're saying he hasn't really won a pivotal state yet.
Nothing that was not expected has changed. State. Yeah, there's really.
Are you checking out Oregon? I want to see what the heck's going on with Oregon that's like showing red on that map.
There's 0%
yeah, but it's only 1% reporting.
It's just some small county somewhere.
Some big town out in the middle of
somewhere wherever you live.
What?
It's Pendleton.
Like,
Pendleton,
Oregon. Members voted or something, and that's all they counted.
Yeah.
Burns.
Yeah, Portland went 100% for Trump. No, I'm just kidding. Wow. I don't think
Portland is boarding up all their businesses downtown today. I saw a video of that. That's a smart move. I'm sure Seattle's doing the same thing. Oklahoma City doesn't care, I'll tell you that.
I mean, what kind of people would protest, you know? Maybe they should see. There's a movie, LGBT Terrace. You should go see it.
Yes.
It explains why certain
they all
people
live in
protest.
Dallas, Texas.
Did you remember in that film? There's a scene where we have a mug shot. Maybe we can get our production crew find this. You can find this on Google. There's this like mug shot collage. I don't. Maybe I can.
I wouldn't even be able to finish my dinner.
It's like Antifa.
Someone in the restaurant looked like these
mug
people.
shots or something like this, and it definitely. Yeah, here we go. Oh man, I'm gonna pull this up. You might shield your eyes if you're weak in the stomach. Then don't look. But this is the mug shots of Antifa, and we put some of these in our film. I don't even think it was necessarily this exact photo, but it was a similar one, and it's just like
these smiling, leering devils.
This is the route that you go down I think one of them is like Leatherface. He's
Alex Jones reference for those of you who have no idea why the hell I'm saying.
Okay, I'll get that up the screen. All right, it's safe to look again.
So Alex Jones reference. He has like this epic rant against Brian Stelter. So I was referring to that.
Do we have any clips that we want to watch? You had a couple.
There's so many that we.
No, but I think you had put a couple in our chat. If there's one that you were thinking of, you could ask our production crew, and we could watch one of those quick clips here. I'll let you tee that up, but I'm kind of curious too for our pastors here and everything that's going on. Is there something that you're going to do different based on the presidential election? And I'm just kind of asking, like, do you think you'll be a little bit more conservative financially if Harris wins? Do you think that you may do any? I'm just kind of curious what you guys' thoughts are. I'm sure some people have different opinions here, and we can go around the room. Pastor Mejia, do you think if Trump's elected or Kamala's elected that you'll actually make any decisions differently?
No, it'll just be business as usual here. Other than the sermon content will, change
Who
a
you're
little
picking
bit.
on?
But yeah, I don't really foresee. Obviously, if Trump becomes president, I don't think I'm even going to preach any sermons on Trump. But if Kamala becomes president, obviously I would. But as far as like anything I would change in my church, I don't see it influencing the ministry at First Works at all, the soul winning at all. I think it's good to teach our people that, the word of God can have free course. And when a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with them. So it's just keep serving God, keep soul winning, keep preaching, keep, doing what you're supposed to be doing. And we made it through Biden. And so, my church grew through Biden's administration. And so I wasn't really negatively affected at all. So I wouldn't change anything.
I'm kind of curious for our audience too, if you want to put in there, is there something that you're going to change based on which president? What do you think, Brother Oz? Do you think it's going to change any decisions that you really make?
No, I mean, just echoing these guys, I have a sermon idea called Kamala's a Curse that I would like to preach. But other than that, I mean, presidencies don't really seem to affect church unless something crazy like COVID happens, which that really has nothing to do with whoever's in office. I mean, that obviously really affected churches. And if something like that happened again, or if our nation had some insanely huge war or something like that, that could affect church. But I don't really think just a new body in the White House is going to change anything regarding our church, especially in Oklahoma.
What about you, Pastor Thompson?
If Kamala wins, I'm going to preach a sermon called Kamala Harris, the literal whore of Babylon. I already said that last week, Pastor Anderson, so I know you said you were going to preach one too, but
he said everybody's going to beat him to the punch.
There's going to be a lot
Everybody's going to beat me to it because I have a missions conference right now. So I'm going to be preaching a mission sermon, and everybody's going to be preaching all the Kamala sermons.
You got it.
I'm going to be a week late with that. So
yeah, but you'll know what everybody preached, and you can just preach what everybody didn't. Or
I'll be batting cleanup.
Yeah, hit the grand slam.
I'm looking forward to all these sermons, honestly.
I'm going to continue to buy green bananas, whether Trump or Harris gets elected.
That's bananas. Isn't that before they're ready to be eaten? I'm confused.
No, I'm saying I'm willing to buy the green bananas because I feel like I'll be around long enough to enjoy them when they get ripe.
I gotcha.
Because nothing's too urgent.
Still going to buy pre-workout, Pastor Mejia?
Oh yeah.
I voted.
There we
Did
go.
anybody vote today?
I'll be honest, I did. Yes, I voted.
I think our Middle Easterner voted.
Not today, though. It was on.
Oh, okay. Early
We had
Friday.
some ballot measures that were pretty crazy. Like they basically in Washington, Jay Inslee, the governor of Washington, made it to where basically you can't have gas after a certain. They made it where basically everybody has to go electric after a certain year, and so there was a measure to repeal that. So I voted against that stupid all this carbon stuff. There's another carbon one where you can only have a certain amount of carbon, and all this. I just vote anything that raises taxes. I vote against that. So there's like 4 major ones that I voted against, and then any amendments to change the city of Vancouver. They were trying to change some stuff where they could just kind of do workarounds and screw around with the city government. I voted against that. So I like
voted
to vote
against
against
every woman in positions of authority. Like, there was a bunch of questions that were saying, like, would you like to keep Janet so-and-so in position of judge? I'm just like, no. Would you like to keep Kelsey? No. Next one, would you like to keep her? I'm just like, no. That was my voting, so.
There's probably some elections where it's 2 women, right?
Then I abstained from that one.
Back when I used to vote, I used to do the same thing where I would just like vote to remove all the female judges. But that's kind of an interesting subject, though, because if you think about it, like the fact that you can even remove judges by popular vote is a bad idea anyway, because, you know, judges are supposed to do what's right no matter what. Like, they're supposed to pass judgment and not be in a popularity contest, which is why Supreme Court justices, for example, are appointed for life, because that way they can just uphold the law, interpret the law, and just do what their conscience tells them to do and not have to worry about making people happy. So this whole idea of having a popular vote to remove judges is something that isn't really a legitimate part of our Republican form of government, I don't think.
We want to put a little bit of a poll out there for our audience. Why don't you give us your opinion on who's going to win, not who you want to win. Oh, okay. This is if you voted. Well, you think anybody in our chat's going to say that?
Where is this poll,
Kamala?
I mean, I feel like even though I don't vote, I feel like probably like more than 90% of my church members voted.
Yeah, I think so too. But I'm just saying, I want to put in the stream hashtag Trump or hashtag Kamala. Who do you think is going to win the election? Not who you voted for, not who you want. Just your opinion. I just want to get a quick sample from our audience.
Where is the poll? Is it on X? Is it on Rumble?
It's just in the chat. So just give us a hashtag Trump or hashtag Kamala. I want to see kind of what our audience is feeling. And this is, again, not what you want, what you think. Hashtag Harris or hashtag Trump. It's pretty much all Trump so far. Trump, tie. How do you tie? I think you can technically tie. Oh, there's a hashtag Harris. Okay, there's another one. So we're like at about 2 out of 15 right now.
These are people who voted Kamala?
No.
Oh,
Were you
sorry.
listening?
No, I wasn't.
No one listens to me when I speak. Okay.
They're just saying who they think.
Who they think's
right?
gonna win.
Who they think? Okay.
Ben had a Brother Thompson moment where he's like,
I guess whenever I speak, it's like doesn't matter. It's funny, like Utah. I'm looking at the chart. It says 0 votes counted, 0% on all aboard, and they've already given Utah to Donald Trump. It's just like
It makes
we
sense.
already know the Mormons are going to vote for Trump.
He's going to win.
I saw an interesting video. It was 180,000 Amish people registered to vote in Pennsylvania. And they're like all voting for Trump because I guess some Democrat went and like harassed them because of COVID in the last 4 years or something like that.
Uh-huh.
So you had all these Amish people coming out voting for Trump. And it's pretty funny. Like they're so against technology and all these different things. But I guess voting for Trump.
They'll use the electronic voting machine if they have to.
They have their standards are to vote for Trump too. I guess they're just looking at it from a pure harassment perspective. They just don't want to be harassed. And that's what most people that I know, that's why they voted for Trump. I got grief from a lot of family members, a lot of friends. They said, hey, we just want to be less harassed, and it's the lesser of two evils. I'm not mad at those people. You know, I think that it makes sense that it is the lesser of two evils, but I don't even think it's for sure, because obviously even Trump brought in the COVID measures and allowed a lot of things to happen at the end of his presidency. And so I think that even if he is the president, that does not necessarily stop us from having all kinds of crazy things happening during his term in office. And I mean, I think I'm probably a little different than all of our pastor friends here and our friends here, because I will probably be more conservative if Kamala Harris is elected. as opposed to Donald Trump, as far as just like decisions I would make financially or just what I'm doing with our church, just to be a little bit more careful. And I was thinking of what the Bible says in Proverbs 22. It says, a prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. And I just, again, 4 years ago, I said in our stream, I said, if Donald Trump loses and Biden's in office, he is a shield for a lot of hate, and a lot of people are attacking him. And when he's out, they're going to then focus all their attention on a lot of Christians. And so, you know, from my perspective, like, I just thought, you know, we're going to get harassed more than we did. So, like, from my perspective, I just wanted to be a little bit more conservative. And so that's probably what I'm going to do. I don't know that necessarily is right. I'm just kind of saying, like, from my perspective, that's kind of how I feel about that situation. I want to play a clip here that you had
first
set up.
one.
Can we play this clip that we have set up here?
It's the first clip in our media channel.
Give us
the very
some-
first clip.
what
But
is it
it's
about?
basically these dudes dressed up as Kamala Harris staff, and they knocked on Kamala Harris supporter doors and offered them some migrants. Go ahead.
I dressed up like I work for Kamala's campaign, and now I'm going to deliver immigrants to her supporters.
We're voting for you, don't worry.
Are you? Of course. We do have a surprise, if that's okay, just real fast.
You have a surprise?
We're looking for a place for them to stay. They just came across. They'll sleep on floors. I mean, they're not picky, you know.
We have like a 2-year-old, so
Hector's good with kids.
we just can't.
Could they just, like, sleep on your lawn? They need a place to stay. They just came across.
My teenagers live with me. I
Oh,
don't
that's
have
fine.
extra room.
Hector, he was dating a teenager, like, a little bit ago, so... They
Okay.
just came across. They don't have papers. You're in support of, like, the whole border situation, and we're just trying to get them a floor to sleep on. We're a house of COVID. You guys want COVID? They said they could survive it.
We work with her, so we know how to say her name.
Earlier you said Kamala. The way she pronounces her name is Kamala. You don't work with her.
See that car? We have 3 dudes who just came across the border. We're trying to find them a home.
Find them a home.
Just say I'm voting for Donald Trump without saying it, okay?
That's a wrong attitude, mister. I said my vote is private.
So you're voting Kamala.
No. You said it again.
So, yeah, their policies make sense for other people, just not themselves, right? We love for the migrants to come across the border, and we want someone to house them, just not us.
Yeah. Well, it's just funny to see the hypocrisy. It's so easy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel to point out the hypocrisy of leftists. And we talked about voting earlier. I did vote, early voting on Friday. And a large part of my motivation is I really want to see these people crying tonight. I really want to
hear their screams.
Leftists cry very badly. Obviously, you could argue that's not the greatest motivation. I get that. Many of them who aren't saved are going to go to hell anyway. I understand. But I guess you could argue in my flesh, it would really be a lot of fun to see them be absolutely miserable and having a complete and total mental breakdown because of how arrogant, because of how prideful, and because of how hypocritical they are. I really despise leftism to my core.
Man, you wanna open your front door and hear the shrieking, shrill screams of Lynette and all the other stupid queer protesters. You want to hear them screaming.
I want to hear it and see what we're looking at here.
I know.
Brother Oz, what we're looking at here, and for the audience,
Is that Lynette?
This is 2016 when Hillary lost, and look at all these pathetic people. They're so sad. They're so miserable that they're not going to get the trans kids and the abortion and the Satan worship and the bloodthirsty policies. And look at that, cussing the screen. You are a pathetic woman. That is gross. That is filthy. That is abominable. But I love to see them upset and crying and sad. It makes my day.
Yeah, people that love, chopping up babies are animals. disgusting, barbaric,
filthy, abominable.
subhuman.
And it's even worse.
Don't care.
Now they're putting the pedophile books in the schools. Now they have the pedophile story time hour. They're defiling children. They're putting them in trafficking. It is so disgusting what they're doing, what they propagate, what they support. It's gross. Every single normal person stands against it. And if those people are going to be the ones who are upset, crying, losing their minds tonight, then I will be celebrating. How's it going, Pastor Anderson?
He didn't get McDonald's. What did you get? We got to promote whatever food choice you have.
This is my wife's famous taco soup.
Nice. Is that like the chicken and the corn and the beans and all that?
It's definitely beans and corn and tomatoes, rice, and it's beef is the meat though.
Oh, it's
like
beef.
ground beef.
I thought that was frosted wheats because you're talking about frosted wheats.
Yeah, I mean, I have kind of
or frosted flakes.
No, I've kind of switched over to preferring frosted mini wheats to cinnamon toast crunch. Actually,
is that like backwards? Weren't you on the cinnamon toast crunch and then?
Yeah, but I'm saying I've now graduated to frosted mini wheats.
Oh wow!
Oh, okay. So now
that's like a huge development.
Yeah, but what's that?
Is there a brand? Because there's this one called Mom's Best that we have at our store that I like.
Yeah, when I was at your house, I had a big bowl of that Mom's Best out of your pantry. Man, staying at Pastor Shelley's house has some serious perks because he has the most cereals in his pantry of any house I've ever stayed at. I mean, I opened the pantry and it was like, I don't even know where to begin. It was like a kid in a candy store. There were just like 10 wonderful cereals. I'm just like having a bowl of each. It was the greatest thing ever.
I think it's because I have 6 kids and they'll crush a box. Like you'll just have like one box and it'll be gone the next day. So you have to be really careful. And especially if you buy something good.
Question, I do always like those those other brands. Like even for Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I prefer the one that comes from Sprouts or like
the Cascade.